Hi, everybody. My name is Phil Cannato. I'm an implementation consultant with Prosymmetry. In this video, we'll look at the single project allocation grid. This is one of two places within Tempus where you're able to make resource assignments directly within the Tempus UI. So if you want to view those assignments, if you want to edit existing or just completely make new, this is one of the two areas you can do that. The other area is the bulk project allocation flat grid, and we're going to look at that in a separate video. But today we're just going to give a short tour of the single project allocation. I'll show you where I can see, edit, create those new assignments. I'll show how we can enter the resource replacement area in Tempus. And then we're going to look at a newer feature. I'm going to show how to enable the multi-assignment. And then we'll just go through a simple use case of how you might be able to take advantage of that. So the first thing I want to do is from my Tempus home screen, I'm going to go into project management. So this is where you're typically going to see your listing of projects. Out here, I'm just going to select on a project. Today, we'll look at the sample project. I'm just going to click on the name to enter the project record. When I come into the screen, I want to point something out. You may be defaulted when you enter the project record to come to this attributes page. If that is how your Tempus is configured, just know that you'll come over to this dropdown and you'll select the allocations tab. So this is, in fact, the single project allocation screen. What we see out here is we see our project start and end dates. If you're utilizing multiple data sets, we in this video, we're just going to be looking at planned allocations. But if your use case involves a demand data set, or if you're working with actuals, you can switch between your planned and actuals here. You can even view both on the screen at the same time, or you can put in place planned actual, and then it'll calculate the difference, the delta between those two. But today we'll look at planned allocations. We're able to search for resources out here. We can do groupings. So right now I'm grouped by resource. If you're using task, you're able to switch that here and you'll simply be grouped on your tasks. Inserting columns. If there's anything in terms of an assignment attribute, resource attribute, project attribute that I want to see and pull into the screen. For example, I'll pull in role here. I want to see maybe what's the role of this resource. So these you can pull directly in. We're going to look at using an assignment attribute when we get into the multi-function area. We're also able to choose between 8 different time granularities out here. We're also able to adjust our units. Right now, I'm looking at this in terms of an FTE. But we also are able to, I'm actually looking at FTE percent. We can move that directly into FTE. We can switch that to time, which time is going to be assignment in terms of hours. Able to look at cost. So if you have your resource rates in Tempus, what this will do is multiply that resource rate times the hourly length of the assignment and come out with a dollar amount here. And that's going to be displayed under your cost. Also, if we want to view this as a Gantt, if we're checked out, we can modify simply by sliding the bar. Also can move between mandate, or we can look at story points if we're looking at team resources. A couple other things to point out. If you utilize templates, if there's an aspect of a template that you want to pull into your project, this is where you can specify those different areas, and you would just hit apply here. If you want to subscribe to the project, you can go ahead and turn that on here. If you want to enter the scribe feature, so send a message to another user, that's available on the screen as well. So right now, obviously able to, let me switch back to our FTE. I'm obviously able to view the existing assignments right within the screen. If I go ahead and check out, not only do I need to be checked out to modify any allocations, but I also would need to check out if I'm going to be changing, if I have permission to change my project start and end dates. Just be aware you have to have that permission, but we would need the project checked out as well. And this works a lot like Excel. If you're not familiar with the screen, you can type in the modifications to your assignments. You can copy, paste, cut and drag, etc. Adding a new assignment, when we click on that resource name, it's just a matter of going ahead and selecting them. They're going to pull into our grid. I like to look at the heat map here. So right when I pull in Ashley, I can see she's a bit over allocated. Take a look at, there's some grid options out here. I always love to have the heat map on, and then if you want to show a specific date range within the project duration, you're able to just set that here, as well as setting which tasks you want to see, generic versus not generic. Here we have it select all. We're not using tasks today. Just some other options here that you can check out when you have time. But it's just a matter of adding a resource to the project. We'll go ahead and enter a quick assignment and save and check in. Another thing I want to point out, if you're going to be replacing your resource, you can check the project out, and on the ellipses here, we're able to enter our resource replacement area. This will also take you to a quick read-only link to a resources cross-project allocation. So if we were to go here, let's click in for Ashley, just because I noticed she's red here starting in December. Just want to take a quick look at everything on her plate. Here I'm able to see a complete listing of everything that is on her plate. Close that out. Entering the resource replace. We won't get too deep into this functionality, but just know this is where you can enter into that functional area. Okay, the next thing we want to do is I'm going to go ahead and actually check my project back in. Next thing that I want to do is show how we can enable the new feature, which is the multi-assignment. So this would need to most likely be done from an administrator account. This is based on a permission that we have within our admin settings. I'm going to go over to our general settings. And where the permission or functionality is found is this allow multiple assignments. I'm going to go ahead and toggle that on. So from here, let's go back into our sample project. I'm going to check this out. Now for this use case, what I want to demonstrate is I have a situation where I want Bobby to work on this project, but I want to keep track. I want him to actually serve as two roles on this assignment, but I want to keep track of each assignment separately. So let's go ahead and add Bobby. So from here, I'm going to go ahead and click this caret. And you'll see what it does is it brings in our task name, which in this case, we don't have named tasks, so it's by default going to show generic. But when I click this on and we select generic again, it's going to recognize that this is a new assignment. So right now, I now have enabled two new assignments. And I want to specify, as I mentioned, what is the role that is going to be performed with each assignment. So from here, I'm going to I have an assignment attribute, which is role on project. The thing about assignment attributes, these can be populated directly in the screen where resource project attributes can only be viewed. So I want to specify for Bobby the difference where he serves as a mechanical engineer versus software engineer. So in this example, we'll say Bobby's going to spend 5% of his time as a mechanical engineer and 10% as a software engineer. I'm going to go ahead and drag that across for the time that I need it. From there, I'll just go ahead and save and check in. And that can be a common use of the new multi-assignment. So for more information on the single project allocation grid, please visit our help center or reach out to your Tempus representative. And thank you for watching.